And we're live.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to 107 episode of Fans of Power. I am Joe Amato, and I'm here with Tyler T-Rex Baker. And T-Rex, ready for tonight's episode?
I don't think you've called me T-Rex in a while.
I guess, I always introduce you as Tyler T-Rex Baker, but I don't know. Sometimes I usually do it, maybe
Feels like
randomly.
since I've been referred to as the uh, that nickname, so
See,
it's nice to hear it for a change.
now you're going to be putting it in my head so much, I'm probably going to subconsciously say it throughout the episode. It's like, so T-Rex, what'd you think of that? Yeah, that was a good comment, T-Rex. Now I'm going to be stuck saying it probably just because you put that subliminal message in my head.
Well, but isn't that the point of the nickname is to call me that?
But I did no, really. Like I said, I started off with it, said it again. Oh, I call you that. Just maybe you don't hear it. But real quick, I wanted to say hello. We got a bunch of people in the chat room. We got Christopher Dahlberg. We got Cristobal Davila or Davila. Oh God, I probably butchered his name. Now he's going to want to
I
kick
don't
me
know,
in the
Vita.
nuts. Yeah, he's probably going to kick me in the nuts. We got Ivan. Hey, Ivan. Thanks. Yeah, he knows I probably I could attempt his last name because I'm gonna screw it up and sound like a moron. And we got JSP. We got Tom Charlton. So thank you everyone for joining us in the chat room. And there's a lot of people who are excited to hear about the new adventures talk. So yeah, that's a Cristobal.
Be a bunch of God, I hate it.
Well, they're looking forward to it, and this is the first time he said I said it close to right, so I tried. But no, this will be the first time we do a commentary for New Adventures. But yeah, it's like we say, we always try to cover everything. We try to get everything possible from Masters, Princess of Power, New Adventures. We don't want to leave anything out, so we try to do everything we can. And maybe it's something people don't like, but hopefully they do like it. So I guess you can't please
And
everybody.
just so people know, okay, avid listener to this podcast, it's been a long time since Joe and I have done anything regarding New Adventures because we realize, yes, it's the black sheep amongst a lot of He-Man fans. I love it personally. Joe likes it too, but we realize probably a lot of people are not so willing to open their ears up to New Adventures, so that which is why we haven't done it in such a long time. So
It's hard to like sometimes get not that we're trying to get anybody to like anything, but it's tricky because I mean even me, I was an open hater of New Adventures when I first came around to watch, and I was like, dear God, what is this hot mess? It put me to sleep every time I watched it, but then I kept trying to give it more of a chance. Like, you know what? It's not bad. It grows on you. The more you watch, it's like, okay, this ain't, it's not as horrible as it seems. But yes, well, we'll get to that later. But yes,
yeah,
I openly am holding my hand up. Yes, I was kind of a hater. But well, I first wanted to say one thing, because wait a second. Wait, Christopher Dahlberg said Tyler might be upset because I screamed no, not New Adventures on his post. So you must have a post on Facebook where he
oh,
screamed no.
I saw
Oh,
it, Chris. Which I just have to roll my eyes and oh, great, you're one of them. You know, you're one of those guys that just has to like. I have to tell you that I think New Adventures is stupid. Like, by golly, Joe, I've never heard anybody say that before.
right. Well,
So yes, Chris, I saw your remark.
it'll be fun to do our commentary on it. But I wanted to start off with one thing. I wanted to start off something cool from a fan out there. I don't know if many of you guys know. There's this fan out there. His name is John English, and he does customs. He has like Master English customs. He purchased a while back the prototype of the Eldor figure, the one that we never got way back in the 80s that we're supposed to. He purchased this prototype, and it's well known. I mean, he's posted, so it's not like I'm telling anything new. He's posted this. Well, he just today showed that he's going to be casting out. He's going to be making some of these Eldor figures a limited amount for fans to get. And he's a, well, I guess Master English works perfectly for his title, for his customs, because he's a master at doing this molding and casting process. He didn't destroy his figure at all. I mean, it's still absolutely in the same pristine condition. I think he said it's not as tight put together as like a regular normal mass produced figure would have been, so he easily was able to have it just kind of to pop it apart. He does every piece is just mass produced perfectly. I mean, how he does it, I mean, he's doing this himself. But for those who've always wanted to have an exact Eldor, he's going to be he's still got to get more details of when he's going to do this, but he showed it in a couple groups. Tyler, I can tell you, it's breathtaking. It looks just like the actual Eldor. So I had to give a shout out to him. Amazing looking work.
Oh, as anybody that's going to be pushing the powers of Grayskull in any form or fashion, you have my blessing. As long as it is solely based on the original concept, idea, and story of the powers of Grayskull, and nothing to do with the abomination that included King Grayskull and all these other silly atrocities to that storyline. So I'm all behind that, and I think that's a wonderful project he's taken on.
Yes, so that will be fantastic. I'm curious if he's going to maybe do an attempt. I haven't asked him, and I'm sure other fans will ask, like, will he attempt to make his own, book of living spells? Because that's the one thing he doesn't have. But I'm curious to see if he'll do that, because remember, there was supposed to be a gimmick of how it came out and had holograms. So
Yeah, what about
you
them
know,
holograms, dude?
yeah, so that'd be cool. But either way, I was figuring fans would be super excited about that. I know I am. I mean, when I seen what he put out, I was like, it looks exactly like the actual prototype. That's how he does it. He can make the molds and cast it out, and it looks exactly like it, and it's in the colors of how it should be. So I just had to give a shout out to him, because when I see super amazing work, I'm definitely going to respect it and say something. So that's for
Hopefully,
John.
they'll say that about another topic this evening.
Yeah, we'll see when we get. Oh yeah, well hey, I don't know when we might get to that. We might have to get to that. Maybe now we could. Maybe we'll talk about another fan project. Let's talk about a mini comic. Now, what's the name of this mini comic, Tyler? Because you can go ahead. You have the honor of saying and maybe showing if you want, and then I'll discuss this mini comic that I want to talk about.
I'm trying to hold up as close as possible there, but is the Leech?
Raise it up. Raise up a little bit. There you go. Leech, the master of power suction unleashed. And this was a collaboration between you and Carson Clinch. You wrote it, and he drew it, correct?
Yes, I designed every panel, the dialogue, the story was Carson offered suggestions for certain things, but none of the vast majority of it, I wrote it down what I wanted to see in each panel, 1, 2, middle panel, splash panel. That's all me. Everything.
Okay.
I'd never done it before either. I've never, as many times as I tried to complete writing little He-Man stories as a child, I never finished a single damn one. But this is the first and only He-Man related story I've ever completed in my entire life. So, it may show like, wow, it clearly shows he doesn't have much experience doing this, or like, hey, not bad for a first time out. So I had no attachment to this story. It was just Carson hit us up or hit me up one after Joe and I tore apart the Leech mini comic back in I think February, and wanted to know if what about retelling it, coming up with a more coherent story. And the idea behind it was to tell a much more understandable story that would kind of, as if it were being sold with the figure back in '85. Like, this is a mini comic that's supposed to push the Horde and Leech in particular, and incorporate characters that were available in the toy line at that time. And we took a couple of liberties with one character in particular, not that is, but just as a fun cameo. I threw in, well, oh, hell, I'll let.
Yeah.
I wanted Joe to review it and to give me an honest opinion. I didn't want
And that's what I'm going to do. I just want to let everybody know this will be an honest opinion, because when we talked about, the original vintage Leech mini comic, I mean, it's been, for most fans, it was considered one of the worst ones, not just because just a weird story, but just the art of how it was confusing. Like, why does Leech look like he's the size of Godzilla in some panels, and then others is not? Hordak's a giant, and then even bigger. It was just, in the art was just really something painful on the eyes. And like I said, I mean, hell, I can't draw. So, I know some people say, well, Joe, why don't you put your money mouth, or where your mouth is? And that's why I respect what you did, Tyler, because some people were saying, why don't you write a story? And you know what? You did that, and you had an amazing artist, Karsten Clinch. He sat there and did the art. And now I'll give an honest review. Just because we're hosting this together doesn't mean I'm going to sugarcoat it, make everything great.
Yeah,
there's something.
And to emphasize too, I've talked with Joe in private before we do this too, like of some mistakes that were found in this that I didn't see.
Yeah, and I caught these couple of things, and so I will bring things up, but I'll still be honest. But the first page, another thing, Tyler wanted to send me a physical copy of this, and I said, nope, I don't want it. I said, you go ahead and we can make these available for the fans to where you can give them out. In fact, at some point during this podcast, I'm going to ask a trivia question. And the first person that can answer that trivia question on the Fans of Power Facebook page, they'll win a copy of Tyler's mini comic. So I said, well, since you're not physically sending, just could you take pictures and send them to me? And that's what I wanted to ask. I wanted to make sure first. Obviously, you didn't send the cover to me. So was the first panel where Cyclone and Man at Arms were in the swamps?
Technically, yes. There's a inside first page with the credits with Leech lurking in the swamp water.
Oh, okay, I didn't get that. So
Yeah, that was Carson's idea. I had nothing to do with it. I set up the first panel and on. That was a nice little opening page that Carson drew of kind of alluding to what we're going to be seeing.
Okay,
a nice little image.
All right, because obviously now how this starts off is you see Cyclone and Man at Arms, and they're in these swamps, talking about how they could see how people could get lost in these swamps, and they're looking for men, warriors, Eternian soldiers, people are. I'm taken that's what it is, because at some point Cyclone he picks up a helmet. And he said it doesn't look good, and it looks like an Eternian Palace guard's helmet, like how Man at Arms has. So that's what you see, and then right from there, boom, it pops up. Leech sucks on the back of Man at Arms, and as an homage, as everybody, we'll see eventually, as an homage to the card back where Leech is sucking on Man at Arms. So it's that. I like how he did that, and then it has boom, the name of Leech, the Master of Power Suction Unleashed. And the art this is really vibrant art. I'll give it to you when you guys do see this. It's fantastic looking art, and like I said, hopefully you get a chance to win it. But of course, still there's pictures that Tyler's put up here and there you can see, but it's at least to get a chance, to know what's going on. In fact, you could throw maybe at least one little thing to give people an idea of this one panel page, the one where Cyclone is spinning, and okay, like I said, it's great looking art. You can see on the one side you see Leech sucking on Man at Arms, but this is it sounded so wrong how I said it, but
he's using his suction. Just say he's using the suction power. If he keeps
that might be better.
Off Man at Arms or he's sucking off Cyclone here, it's like, dude, we're making this a little too homoerotic here. When
okay. Well, you know what I mean. Okay, well, he's using his suction, but this is what's cool. I like the part where Cyclone says, drop immediately, you, and before he can finish, Leech grabs Cyclone. He's grabbing by his face, so he's holding onto Cyclone's face, but he's also using his suction power still on Man at Arms. Then out of nowhere, then Leech just basically goes after Cyclone and starts like grabbing him with both of his hands to drain his power. So it's like going from one thing to another, nonstop jumping from action to action, and then you hear a voice, somebody say, "How about you try some greens instead, Beast?" And this big splot of stuff hits Leech. And it's
a tree log.
Oh, it's a tree. I thought it was when he said greens, that's the thing. From my picture that you sent me, since it's kind of blurred, I thought it was a big, so it's a tree. Oh, it is a tree log. See? I didn't know that. I thought it was greens. I was like, he must have threw a pile of mushy.
Well, the greens is referencing the person who's saying it.
Himself. So. Oh, okay. So, yeah, he makes a challenge, obviously, to Leech then. And
it's Moss Man.
Jesus. Moss Man makes a challenge to Leech, basically, to get out of here, you're going to have some more of me to deal with. And Leech basically says he has what he came for. And he's taken Man at Arms away with him. And he said, like, the swamp will be, the Horde's domain. So I wondered in this panel, I was going to ask you about this. Did Cyclone and Mossman, did you feel like they were being outgunned? Because I was like, why didn't they just go right after Leech right there as they were carrying Man at Arms? Did you feel like maybe they were outgunned and just they couldn't handle him, so they stopped, or what?
Well, story-wise, we got to get He-Man in here somehow. And, my idea was that Leech is presented as a very powerful beast in this. I'm only given so many pages to show everything here. So the idea behind it is, Cyclone's just been taken out. Cyclone is, as we all know, arguably the most powerful of the heroic warriors. Has just been dismantled quite quickly. And Man at Arms has been taken as well.
Okay. That was just
it's go ahead.
Okay, because like I said, it was just something I questioned. I figured, well, maybe they did feel like, he just took care of Man at Arms. He took care of Cyclone. maybe let's take a breather. We'll go get some backup because that's what they're going to say. That's what he says anyway. Cyclone
Yes,
says we're going to need some help.
that is the whole purpose of that is like we got a big threat. Maybe we should get some back. That is exactly what I was going for when I set that up.
Okay, and it was on this page where there was like a grammatical error that I told Tyler about, but it
Yeah,
doesn't take away from
yeah.
the story. It was a double use of a word that there should have been another word, but when you read it, you'll see exactly what it's supposed to be like. I immediately knew what it was supposed to say, but like I said, hey, you see grammatical errors in even comics that are put out by professional companies. It happens. So yeah, so the next scene is that they're back in the palace and they're telling King Randor what's going on. They're letting him basically letting him know about the horde, and you see Prince Adam lurking behind a corner. And what I like about this, for me, I'm hoping you did this as an homage to like some of Prince Adam's earlier type ways or depictions. Almost felt like I was getting a DC vibe. He was like, let me see, I want to make sure I can read it. He says, "No time for chasing Lady Amanda today. It's time for He-Man." So I like that Prince Adam is, being depicted as how he is, like a little ladies' man. He's always wanting to go after women. In the early DC comics he was. You even seen him in some of the Filmation episodes. I thought he was like carousing.
Well, that panel and that dialogue is a reference to the Dragon's Gift, where Adam's late showing up to the royal. Where the ambassador of Theron is coming to, with Skeletor in disguise coming to present that crystal, that emerald statue to King Randor.
Oh, okay.
And like, where's Prince Adam at? And Man at Arms covers him. And Tila says, "I wouldn't call Lady Amanda a government problem."
Okay.
Thing that Adam is still chasing this particular woman. It's an extremely small, obscure reference, but I love Dragon's Gift, and I just thought,
okay.
Yeah, to play the whole ladies man aspect that Adam is portrayed.
Because so far I'm getting a lot of homages to things. First, to the card back art with Leech, using his suction power on Man at Arms. For that reference right there for Filmation, along with the same lines, you could even say he's wearing his blue vest in this. So in a way, it's kind of referencing. You could say some of the early Alcala, or even
That was Carson's idea too, to kind of do a throwback to that particular style of Prince Adam. We wanted to do kind of a mix, like you see, the Royal Palace is clearly based on Filmation.
Wasn't it blue also?
Filmation as well, but yeah.
Real quick, wasn't the blue vest that was also in the DC early version too? Okay, and see, so that's why when I heard the reference to the women, I was thinking it was a combination, like how he was
both, but it was directly taken from Dragon's Gift.
Okay, so you have, like I said, the homages to all those, and then basically Prince Adam transforms into He-Man. He, comes into the room, he hears what's going on, so it's him, Moss Man, and Cyclone, take off, get into the attack track. And there's a little panel where it's showing them, going into the attack track, and it says, "The heroic warriors board the attack track and head to the Vine Jungle, where the legendary gateway to Atheria, I think it says,
awaits them."
Okay. All right. Wait.
Yeah, for listeners and people who do buy this or want a free copy, unfortunately, we're not able to catch the grammatic errors until afterwards. Joe, I was so excited, I didn't catch any of them until Joe pointed them out to me. So it's not hard to figure out what the line is supposed to be. So
So you still get it, but so the next panel you see. Like an attorney, and you see a guard, one of the guards. He's like trapped into the fright zone, being the toy fright zone. The little clamp of rock.
This isn't a royal guardsman. This is like a peasant farmer. That's what I was going for with that one.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, peasant farmer, because you're right. He wasn't in an outfit, but I didn't know if he maybe was. But Hordax telling him, "Well done." He's brought him Man at Arms. He's like, and they're gonna feed him to that the beast monster, which is of course the big. As we know the puppet thing, but we know that big giant beast. So from there, this is what was cool. Earlier, you heard me mention about the gateway to Atheria. Well, if you remember not episode. If you remember the book, the Golden Book, the hard one, the Horde. Do you remember in the one part where the sorceress is making reference to the Vine Jungle, and that there's a way that He-Man's gonna get transported from the Vine Jungle to Atheria? But she said, "Have no fear." Like, he doesn't know what he's going to expect. And there was this one particular page where they say, like, He-Man goes into the Vine Jungle. Suddenly he gets eaten by a plant or a plant monster. Or I forgot how they described it, but a plant monster. They said, now he's in Grizzlor's dungeon. And I always remember thinking, what the hell did they just say? Because in those golden books, the hardcover ones, they only showed one little panel, but of course had tons of dialogue to describe a lot of things happening, so they couldn't show this. So you've never seen.
They do show it in Tila's Secret, in the Golden Tila, which is where you're going with this.
Yeah, I was okay.
Yeah. That's it. It looks. I showed it to Carson. He didn't like that look, so he came up with the one you see in this one.
Okay, because I was going to lead up from that to Tila's Secret, because you're right.
I'm sorry, damn it. I'm
that's
sorry.
okay. That's okay. Well, either way, you basically said it. Then they've seen it. So in this one, you see a slightly different version, which is cool. You see them coming out of that, and He-Man's thanking Moss Man, basically, thank the sorceress your affinity for plants, because they might have walked into the wrong plant. So I like, that kind of happened. So now they're on Atheria. And here's your other little homage. One thing I was going to ask about too. Imp appears as kind of like basically like a guide to tell them where to go. But of course, he's telling them where to go, and he knows they're all going to go into trouble, but they don't know that Imp's anything bad. But what is this form of Imp supposed to be? Is it a unique one? Because I've never seen it. It looks like a rock, but it doesn't look like the rock.
Just a rock.
Okay.
Just having to disguise himself as, I'm sure a little floating little pig type character floating around would probably look a little off-putting, as opposed to this talking rock that's right outside the.
Oh no, I guess. Yeah, because I was saying I didn't know if it was a combination of things. Because remember, in the cartoon, we seen him as an actual rock, a bush, so many other things that were standing. Yeah. So, but either way, it's a cool, different little rock version of Imp that's basically telling them where to go. On their way, there's a trail of like dead warriors that are leading a trail. And what was that homage to? You said that was an homage to something as well.
Yeah, I referenced a couple of movies in this mini comic. That one in particular is referencing the Beastmaster when Dar comes upon the city of Arak. And when he comes down, goes down the mountain and starts on the trail to Arak, you see the entire trail is set up with these poles of skeletons and decomposed humans lined up all the way down to Arak, all the way to where you get to the actual gate. And
it's a cool homage, because I'm going to want you to show something when I get to another part. There is one scene I want you to show the fans again, because like I said, there's some cool parts I like this. I also want to say in the chat room, thank you for everybody that's again talking and joining. And I see Cassandra Proc. Hey, Cassandra, thanks for joining us here. And also Peter Lane. So, and remember, guys, listen, because there'll be a trivia question later, and you can win a copy of this mini comic. But, okay, well, after the trail that they've taken and walked, they finally get to the Fright Zone. They see that Duncan and other warriors, peasants, or whatever are trapped in, the gate of the Fright Zone, as we know from that toy. And Hordak appears with Leech. He-Man tells Cyclone and Mossman, you take care, try to save them, and obviously go after Leech. And I assume that, He-Man was going to go after Hordak. As He-Man takes a step, snap, he gets his foot caught in that trap that, is just like from the playset, which I love. And, Hordak's like, predictable. Then you hear a grrr sound. After that, the big giant beast monster comes out. And this is what's cool. Now, first let me describe it, and then you got to show it. Your mind, what you were thinking of, Karsten put this together perfectly. When the beast monster comes out, He-Man takes his sword, he shoves it right up into like the roof of the mouth of the beast monster. He-Man breaks his foot out of the crack of that rock. He jumps up in the air and then takes a double fist slam to the top of the head of the beast monster, and the sword flies out covered in blood. It's the cool. You got to show the fans at least this, because I love that damn scene. It was a.
Right. Is that?
Okay.
Does that?
We'll go down first. I want them to wait. Slightly go down. Okay, stay right there. All right, as fans. Okay, now you start talking so the fans can see it.
Okay. Yeah. It initially. What I was going for was the sword was supposed to be lodged in the beast monster's mouth, like he couldn't close his mouth all the way down, like referencing like when Luke's fighting the Rancor, he throws that bone in its mouth and it can't close his jaw.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was initially going for with this, but it works just as well the way Carson drew it. And and then how he gets the sword back, that I just thought that sounded cool. Like I just kind of thought, it would be kind of cool if he jumped up on his head and just smashed the sword right out of his head.
Exactly, because in the
And
bottom
I
panel,
thought, well, if there's a death I could get away with, it's killing the beast monster in this.
exactly, a death has been done before in Vintage Masters, so we can live with it. But I was gonna say, go down with it a little bit. Oh wait, I was gonna say if you can bring it back up, go down a little bit, and now go to your left, my right. Or I'm sorry, go to your right, my left. Okay, and go down a little bit. All right, stop there. And if you
Okay.
can, I'm going to want you to talk because they can see the sword has flown in the air, and then He-Man catches a bloody sword, but talks so they can see it.
Yeah, that was I Carson's idea to add the extra blood there, so I have him to thank for that one, just to help sell that. Yes, this thing has been dismantled, quite quickly. Um, Probably wouldn't have been done back in 1985 by the writers and artists back then who were doing these mini comics. Maybe could have gotten away with it in another canon or something, but I just I'm like I said, I'm thinking of a lot of movies I'm crazy about, and I'm thinking about a lot of stuff. And I just I'm thinking like He-Man, Conan the Barbarian kind of stuff, and I just thought him taking out this beast monster. I mean, well, because in my opinion, the beast monster was never used legitimately in any of the mini comics. He just would swallow Prince Adam, and sure enough, he's down in the fright zone, as opposed to using this thing that is fed people. Like the peasant that's shown earlier is, it's a peasant farmer. In my eyes, it was someone who couldn't pay his taxes. So Horde has him picked up, brought to that location, and for absolute torture and punishment, sets him down there and waits for the inevitable, eaten alive.
All right.
Just
Well, I'll tell you what. I like that. Again, just to let fans know, I mean, there has been death in Vintage Masters of the Universe. In the Sunbird Legacy, He-Man takes his sword and decapitates a gigantic snake with blood squirting out. So it's been shown in Vintage. So just in case some people thought it's never happened. But, here's a funny little thing that, in a way, you could say that's kind of what happened to the Beast Monster with almost everybody's vintage toy set. Every fan that showed that puppet, almost every one of them, the top part of the
yeah.
puppet is split right in the head. So it's kind of funny that you did that subconsciously. It's split
Well,
right.
yeah, and like I said, that's a great tie into that, because mine ended up doing the same thing. But it's not like it's a big gaping hole with brains and stuff like that. It just got smashed up to the clear top of his head, and
But I liked it. It's like He-Man did a double. It was just a double service. He shoved it into the head. He jumps up. He does a double axe handle onto the top of the head. The thing squirts out of the top of his head, covered in blood, and he catches it, soaked in blood. I just think, hey, it shows an edge. People like that kind of edge to He-Man, the barbaric stuff, the bloody thing. So, hell, you did get a little bit of killing blood, and it was a cool moment. I can honestly say I've never seen that kind of triple action of bang, boom, catch. That was good. I like how you and Karsten put that together between both of your heads.
that makes me feel good. I'm just so thrilled, because that was the one thing I thought, if anybody gets pissed off about something, it's He-Man killing the Beast Monster. But I'm
I don't
like,
think they will. I
yeah,
don't think. I think that just looks so damn good. I mean, that was cool. That's original, and plus, that's what so many fans say they love and want. They said they want a more barbaric He-Man. Not that they're wanting him to decapitate Skeletor and Merman and things.
no, because hell, I don't want to
Yeah,
see that. But killing
exactly. But
Beast,
yeah,
that's a completely different story.
exactly. He disposed of the beast. Hell, the beast monster was going to kill him, so I guess the beast monster got. So, well, after that, he gets the bloody sword, comes down, he gives Leech a punch right to the jaw with a good glowing fist effect. I don't know if he was
But
summoning the power of the
that
Thunder
was the
Punch.
first idea to do the Thunder Punch.
And it's weird. I just said the Thunder Punch, so I guess I knew
Yeah,
where he
I
was
got to
going.
stop talking over you.
It's weird. Yeah, I just said it, the Thunder Punch. And so, yeah, after that, they get all the men, free them. And, of course, then they're running. They're going back to the plant so they can get back in. But they're saying, even with this defeat, they're still coming. Are still coming, aren't they? And he says, even on this planet, the Horde is a threat to all of eternity. We must prepare for the inevitable. And then, of course, it closes. They're sucked back. After that, you see a defeated Leech laying down. Here comes Grizzlor with Hordak, and Hordak's telling Grizzlor, help him get him up. And he was like, he's basically going to have something that he wants Grizzlor to do. And he's like, and it's time we destroy my true enemy, Skeletor, which is going to lead into what's that going to lead into, basically? What were you insinuating?
I,
Another.
I was making this a prequel to the Hordak, the Ruthless Leaders Revenge mini comic, which is that those last two panels is referencing, which ties right into the opening of the Hordak mini comic at the same location at night, and because Grizzlor is the one that goes on the mission through the portal, because the portals don't just open up whenever it's a big deal. And I had a Hordak use reference his Wraiths as a 2000X reference to 2000X fans who love the Wraiths. I'm like, they're not shown here. They're not. It's just reference. If you get it, you get it. So, but that's what that is tying that in, because I love that mini comic so much. I'm like, why not make this a direct tie into that, just leading right up to those events, building up the idea that the Horde is steadily making small appearances on Eternia and leading up to the big climax of them teaming up with Skeletor, invading Grayskull, and then turning on each other.
Yeah, well,
instead of the upcoming adventures where the Horde become the next big threat. Like I said, they are coming. They're not here yet, but they are coming.
Well, it was, like I said, it was a great ending to a lead-in. I wanted to say one thing. Peter Lane in the chat room, he's brought up something that I always brought up too. And this is about another comic. And it was about the Glorm in the one, Texera mini comic, where he slashes the Glorm across the chip. And I always said, trust me. I said, he's laying in the other panel down. I was like, He-Man killed him, and I'm sure if they were allowed, there would have been blood splatters, but there was probably, they said, nope, don't show the blood. But I was like, yeah, he killed that Glorm, because some people say, oh, no, he didn't kill him. He just, swiped at him, and he fell down. It's like, no, I guarantee that was supposed to be a death. So, Peter, absolutely agree with you. Yes, he killed the Glorm. So, yes, He-Man's killed before. But, Tyler, like I said, I want to commend you. It was a great mini-comic. Yes, there was a couple grammatical errors, but that happens with the other things. But it was a good story you told. I love all the homages to everything, from references from cartoons to other books, other mini comics. And the addition of that, like I said, that sword kill was a cool addition to something, to a mini comic you don't usually see, but it added a spice, it added an edge to He-Man. It didn't take away from the story, but you had a good story that went nonstop, and it kept going with something of at least things being told, action happening, and a beginning to an end, but not nonsense, meaning I don't know what's going on. Because I've said before, when I read the original Leech mini comic, sometimes like, well, why did this happen? Why did this happen? Why is Leech this big? I didn't question anything. Like I said, sure, at the beginning I questioned, okay, why didn't they go after Leech? But I understand what you're saying. They felt outnumbered, like, hey, this is a new threat. Let's kind of get our troops together and see what's going to go on, especially if we go after him and go for the rest of the Horde. We're going to need backup. So yes, and that's their way of obviously getting He-Man too to come join.
I completely get what you're saying with that too. I mean, yes, I mean it's and really that whole scene too, that came out of watching Return of Swamp Thing, where there is a leech monster attacking these government agents in the swamp, and before it kills the last one, Swamp Thing comes out and just beats the hell out of him. If I could do it a lot longer, I probably would have thrown in a fight between Mossman and Leech in the swamp waters, where they're just beating the hell out of each other. But like Carson wanted to keep it within the 14 pages, like the original mini comic, right. So I have to shorten that. But that's what I was going for with that. Yeah, it doesn't make much sense for them not to engage in that fight. But it's He-Man's story. We got to get He-Man involved here. So. Yeah, but your point is valid. I absolutely.
One other quick thing: the comic itself, dimension wise, is it the same dimensions as an original vintage mini comic?
It's just slightly bigger than an original mini comic. I mean, I don't have one with me. I have one wait, hang on a second here. I think I got one right here.
All right, because I know there's a lot of fans that sometimes have cases like slip cases they put all their comics in. So let's see. Okay, it's bigger. It almost reminds me of the size of the aren't the classics mini comics bigger too for the classic figures? If you were to connect that
those here too. Hang on a second.
I'm having a feeling that might be closer to a classic size. I thought those
might be. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, I was thinking it was. I
But the
figured
one
it was.
that has a autograph for me.
All right, yeah, that's why it'll be good. At least it gives people a perspective having all three of wondering what's going on. But let's see.
Oh yes, actually, it's just a hair smaller than the
I'm
classic mini
I'm
comic.
good at eyeballing stuff. Let's see. Okay, then yeah, so it's almost close to that. Okay, good. I thought my eyes were pretty good with me there.
So
So
it's an in between. It's the median of vintage and classic mini comics.
all right, well that's great. So now again, fantastic comic. I want fans to get ready because if you can dual screen and also if you want, just in case you might know the answer to this, I just want you to prepare to go to, remember, if you haven't already, on Facebook, Fans of Power, that's our Facebook page. If you go to Fans of Power on Facebook, and if you're the first to just post on our page the answer to this trivia question I'm going to do, you'll win a copy of that mini comic. Because, like I said, I'd rather the fans out there have a chance of owning this great piece. I mean, Tyler sent me the message to me. I mean the pictures to me here. So, like I said, I'd rather you guys have the chance to win this awesome mini comic. So, here comes my trivia question. Remember, don't answer it here. Answer on Fans of Power on Facebook. My question is, we know there's a lot of lore of Masters of the Universe and Princess of Power, from cartoons, books, mini comics, all sorts of lore. In one particular piece of Masters of the Universe, Princess of Power lore, Grizzlor blasts energy at Leech, and Leech uses a shield to block that blast of energy. If you can be the first person to tell me where this came from, and you answer on Fans of Power with that answer, you'll win that mini comic. So again, Grizzlor is shooting a blast of energy at Leech, and Leech takes a shield to block that blast of energy. If you know that answer, you're the first to one to do it and post it on Fans of Power Facebook page, you'll win that mini comic.
And I send you the copy free. With all you got to do is send us your mailing address. I'll take care of the rest. I just want you to enjoy the mini comic. So this will be the first one we give away. I'll give away another one next week, and then I've got copies to give away for some consecutive weeks. And if you don't want to wait and try and win a free one, you can if you want. But if you'd like to purchase one for $8, you need to contact Karsten at I want a He-Man comic at AOL.de. De.
Okay.
And you can get in touch with him about that, about getting a copy right away. If you don't want to wait, or you can try your luck at each. I'll have a question next week. I've already got mine lined up. So we'll be doing the same.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but Tom Charlton said he can't find the Facebook page. If you go to Facebook, just type in Fans of Power Podcast. If you type that in, that should definitely bring up the page. If you do that in a search, it should come up. So, Fans of Power Podcast. Each of those are separate words. You type that in on Facebook, it should bring up our Facebook page. So, hopefully that should do it. And yeah, because I just wanted to make sure, because I think they said, oh no, it wasn't $80, Christopher. Christopher Dahlberg said $80. No,
$8. Eight after the number that comes after 7, the number 49. God no, we would not. I couldn't charge $80 for anything.
$8. So
$8. $8 here.
There you go. All right. Okay. Well, again, I really did enjoy it, Tyler. Like I said, I of course gave you my honest critiques because that's what I always do. And no, it was good. This was something that, yes, I would have preferred much more to have compared to the one that we actually got back in the 80s.
Yeah, I'd love to rewrite the Montana one. Carson wants me to rewrite the Cosmic Key, which is teased in this particular mini comic. That's the one we're going to do next.
Okay.
And Carson's idea, just to kind of give you an idea of what we're thinking, he wanted me to write multiple, because my idea for the Cosmic Key mini comic was to make it as a prequel to the movie. That this little 14-page mini comic would help set up certain things that you would see or that you wouldn't see, but would, because in the movie the battle and everything is just already taken place. So I wanted the Cosmic Key that would come with Blade, Sword, and Gwildor to be you're going to see all this stuff, but to find out what happens, the kids would have to go see the movie. So if you saw the movie and you read the mini comic, you would say, okay, I know how that happened. I know what happened there. That's my idea for doing the Cosmic Key, is to reference certain things that are mentioned in the movie, but will play out more in the Cosmic Key. And we may do it over 3 mini comics. To do a Blade mini comic, a Sword mini comic, a Gwildor mini comic,
Okay.
or just do all one big one. I know Carson really wants to do multiples, so I'm working on one of them as we speak.
Okay. All right. Well, hopefully, like I said, we'll see who's going to win this. And now we're going to do the part where a lot of you fans, like you said, we're glad we're doing. Some might question, but hey, if you join with us the way we're going to do it, then you can watch and listen to us at the same time. What we're going to do now is dual screen if you can, or if you have a DVD player, you can go onto YouTube. Like I said, what I did right now is I split screen my screen. I have the one where I can watch us on the podcast and all the chat. And then right next to it, I have the actual YouTube video for the New Adventures of He-Man, Episode 1, A New Beginning. It's right there on YouTube. And what we do is we do a live commentary. So Tyler usually cues us up once everybody, we think we're all ready. He counts us down. And then when he says 3, 2, 1, 0, we hit play, we start watching, and we comment, or, do our commentary. But, well, again, I'll be giving my honest opinion about this first episode too. And we'll see what you think, because, there's lovers, there's haters, but the more you watch it, hopefully you can enjoy it a little more. So, Tyler, you go ahead, and I'll pass it to you and tell them what to do.
All right, I'm watching this one on YouTube as well, so I'll just count down from 3, and then on the word play, just hit your play button. 3, 2, 1, play.
Okay, it's starting right.
Opening sequence. I always thought was pretty badass.
When I first seen this again, because I didn't experience this as a kid, just to let everybody know, it was not on in the area I was at. So I first experienced this on DVD. I thought, what in God's name is going on? I mean, his voice sounded so weird. It looked like a Bible cartoon. I can't stress this enough. Every time I seen this, I felt like, God, I'm looking at like one of those Bible cartoons that came on at 6 in the morning before you watch the real cartoons on Saturday mornings. It looked like that. So this was very weird to me. So I had to, like I said, watch this multiple times, but it's grown on me. And like you said, when you look at the animation, I mean, they really are doing a lot of different animations, jumpings. It looks intense. But first time, it was awkward. I'm just being honest. It was awkward.
I saw it on VHS. It was an odd VHS because it combined 3 episodes and there was no break. It broke from this episode, and it wasn't the entire episode. Like what we're seeing right here. All this was not on VHS. It started immediately at the Nordor outer space base.
No
All
kidding.
this stuff, Kaz and Drissy was not involved in the VHS, and I didn't see this till DVD. So, a lot of this is new to me, at least when it came to DVD. And but it's obviously this is setting up Primus and the kind of the mindset of this planet that's constantly under attack all the time. But I think it's a great stepping off point for the show. Not every episode is nowhere near as good as this episode, of course, but and I get, it's I mean, all the villains look great. I would argue with anybody that if they don't like certain looks of characters, you can't deny that here we are with Flog, Slushhead, the mutant troopers entering their pods, and I mean, they all look great. We're going to see Optic and Hoove here. There's Optic. I always thought he looked cool. And Hoove.
Yeah, I thought Optic looked a little weird when I first seen him. I was like, wow. But I also remember when first time seeing this, I was thinking, it was just hard to process because I could picture being a kid being so used to, of course, we're used to Filmation, Minicomics, other stuff. And you see all this, you're wondering, is this happening now? Where's Skeletor? Where's He-Man? What is going on? So eventually, yes, we start, after it passes and goes along with a little bit of the story, then we see what happens. But I remember it being so lost. I just didn't know what was happening. I thought maybe that guy that they showed, Flog, I was like, is that supposed to be Skeletor? I didn't know. I didn't know what was going on. So it was different, but then you start seeing all this stuff here, and Yeah, it was just weird. It was I guess just a shock value for to the eyes.
I think, and obviously because everything gets a full makeover, I think and that's what I want to emphasize the most about people who like to, take dumps on new adventures is that I can look. Mari here clearly looks like she came out of Hanna-Barbera Bible stories. Yes, yes. There's no argument there.
And wasn't
And so
Acarius there? Wasn't he supposed to be going on a date with Drizzy or something?
yeah, he had a date with the Bible chick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's Master Cerebrian looking like clearly like an apostle or someone who was at the Last Supper.
And so, man, it felt very Bible-like, when you were comparing to
Which
some of the.
maybe what they were going for. I have no idea. Because it's we do get to see a lot more hands-on, weapon to weapon fighting and stuff like in this cartoon. But it's
I'll take a
but I think
figure.
also emphasize that this is an extremely peaceful planet inhabited by very I guess polite people. They don't believe in violence and fighting and war, so they're going to look very humble like. So maybe making them look like Bible Bible characters from a cartoon helps kind of push that idea. And here he is with the council about what we can do about stopping the mutants from attacking because they will break through the shield at some point. But
yeah, felt like it was their version of the Council of Elders for me. I felt like, hey, they kind of
yes, pretty much. Yeah, it's I think that's what they were going for, and it's the premise, the story, and the characters. Yes, maybe the execution could have been done better a lot of times, and the visuals could be done better for a lot of the heroic characters. Not necessarily the Galactic Guardians; they all look great, but
I
a
would
lot
take
of the support.
honestly, I would take I'd take a figure of Master Severian. I think they could actually.
Oh yeah, that's a character. I'm like, I'd love to have a Master Severian character.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see
Absolutely.
Yeah, he would actually be pretty cool. I don't know if they could reuse his book for many other characters, maybe, but it'd still be cool. Like I said,
I'd sign up for 7. You put Master Severian in one of your one of 4 sets. You bet your ass I'll be buying that one.
yeah. So it could be it'd be pretty cool, and especially if you know, they maybe even gave you kind of like head packs for what they looked like in the cartoon for the New Adventures figures compared to the actual vintage figures. So you could have like a couple different options of having toy version, cartoon version, because as you can see, there is, for some of them, quite a difference, especially when it comes to Skeletor. He looks quite different in this cartoon than his vintage toy did.
Well, yeah, the vintage toy looks a lot more menacing than the actual cartoon interpretation. And we have Hydron and Flipshot setting up our basic duo of heroes that was featured in the first wave of the toy line, which makes sense to make these two very prominent because that's who was available when this toy line came out. They were the only 2 heroes besides him you could buy. Oh, and here comes the biggest downfall of the cartoon.
Scientists,
jackass scientists that were supposed to be the wonderful comic relief.
Now, see, unlike Orko, where Orko felt very important and he really didn't annoy me. I know he annoyed a lot of other people, possibly.
People want to sit there and say Orko and Snarf for irritating. They haven't seen these 4 schmucks here,
These guys are quite annoying. I always did wonder, though, why Hydron. I was like, why are you putting on your helmet? You're not going underwater, but is that for outer space breathing? I didn't know.
He always to me looked like a scuba diver, but like with certain characters, they're always going to wear their gimmick gear at all times, whether it's plausible to be wearing it or not. So I guess you could say it's out, but he clearly is. He's got webbed, he's got like the scuba boot, the flippers on his flipper boots. So he clearly has like a scuba diving look.
Yeah. And just like you said with those scientists, just way too many. It's like, God, I mean, I can't stomach 1 and they made 4. It's like, why would you make 4 of these?
And they don't really look like scientists at all. One of them looks like, the eunuch from Game of Thrones. One of them looks like some sort of silk merchant, and the other 2 just look like, they don't look like scientists at all.
The short, fatter one almost looked like some kind of demented ripoff of Orko with glasses and goofy hair. He looked like he was just some kind of twisted ripoff of Wildor. I don't know, but
and the other one looks like some sort of like science teacher or something like that from biblical times.
Yep. See, how many times have we seen? I said biblical. You're saying, like I said, I think there must have been some very biblical influences. I
think it was probably done intentional.
Yeah, maybe. And it's the thing. When I was a kid, I did not like I didn't like waking up and seeing the Bible stuff in cartoons before my other cartoons. Like, oh man, I just like wanted to go back to sleep or go eat my bowl of cereal, then come back and say, okay, where's the good stuff? Because that stuff turned my head off, just like Raggedy Ann and Andy. I was like, okay, I'm not watching this. I'm not watching
I didn't mind Raggedy Ann and Andy when that was on. It was
I couldn't watch
part of the lineup, so I just kind of sit through and watch it. And I'm like, it's fine.
yeah, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. But all right, well now they're going to search for somebody that's going to help them, and hopefully then this will at least get people to what we're maybe going to. Like I said, it's some interesting parts. Some parts I did like. Other parts, of course, I questioned again. But again, more I watched it, eh.
And just so people know, this character coming up named Andros is not Goat Man.
It's not Goat Man. Of course, I'm wondering. I was like, okay, if they're on Eternia now and in the past or whatever, it's like, where's Beast Man? Where's Triclops? Where's Merman? What is this? Who is this guy? I've never seen him before. One quick thing. I think Tom Charlton said if Jesus and his disciples fought Skeletor, he said he'd watch it. So,
I would too. I'd love to see Jesus kick Skeletor's ass.
So, all right, so there's yeah. And you said that's Andros. That's his name.
Andros, yeah.
All right. Well, hell, we got to go. Maybe they do it. And now here comes this to me again. First time was, damn. I was like, what? Huh? I was like, how is this He-Man? Because I assumed he would get the He-Man look in the future because I seen the mini comics before I seen the cartoon. The mini comics had quite a unique way of doing it because the mini comics showed him as the He-Man we know, but when he went to the future, he got this different look. So when I seen this immediately, I was like, huh? And I was like, oh wait, that's the sorceress, huh? Maybe for the future it could be the sorceress or some weird demented thing. I don't know. My brain just explodes sometimes.
Well, I mean, it makes sense from an animation standpoint. You know, you're trying to save money on animation, so you're just going to have He-Man with his new look and not try to, I mean, to give him credit, Jack Olesker does wrap up.
And look, they at least tried. They kind of gave a Snake Mountain outer appearance there to somewhat give an appearance. But then here comes these guys, and when I seen Skeletor again, I was like,
Throne.
Yeah, I was like, okay, he's got the bone throne, but I was like, what in the hell is up with Skeletor and eyes? He's got eyeballs. He looks the way he's. Again, it was hard. It was hard to accept. I tried to get more used to it, but it's like he was. I felt like over the top, joking and psychotic, but it fit his character. I mean, it was like he was a little extra twisted, but it wasn't frightening in any means. He wasn't frightening. He was just like off his rocker. I felt like he was just completely nuts. Like how he's addressing the guards.
Yeah, and there's something about Skeletor's personality. I'm not saying it would not be the one that I would choose, but I do find it enjoyable because that's a personality I don't like to see in my villains. However, as I've gotten as a kid, I bought every bit of it. I didn't question a single thing visually. Why Skeletor has got eyes now, I bought because I had the toys first, then I saw the cartoon. I just bought a hook, line, and sinker. So everything that we're seeing here, I didn't question at all. I wanted Hydro and Flip Shot. I wanted everybody. So I
just experienced them together again. I told you I never knew the cartoon.
Well, I mean, this is the same time when I'm still renting the He-Man VHS tapes. I'm seeing it on USA at 8:00 in the morning. Filmation is very, very deep in my mind at this point when I'm seeing this cartoon and toys for the first time, and I just like more He-Man cartoons, more He-Man toys. Give me.
Yeah. I just, for whatever reason, didn't have the luxury in my area. I told you my first experience was the toys. And I remember when I told you my quest for Eldor and Hero that I seen in the catalog that never happened. And one day these toys were on the shelf. I said, what are these abominations? These ain't my toys. But I didn't know there was a cartoon to link it. Maybe if I seen this cartoon when I was a kid in conjunction with the toys, it could have gave me a first off, interpretation or I guess, thought of it to be different. But immediately I was like, wow. And when I seen this Prince Adam, I was like, I don't get it. He looks like a shepherd or something. But then I thought, hey.
He doesn't look much of a, well, I mean, he looks like he could pass for a shepherd or someone from medieval times, of course.
But not a prince. He's not very princely. At least the king and queen.
Not really, no.
Yeah, his King Randor and Queen Marlena, at least they look close, even though
King Randor looks almost like Filmation spot on.
Yeah, and even Marlena minus the crazy colored hair, but this is what I liked. I like what he does here. So he finally transforms in front of his parents, and it's like they felt like they always kind of knew, but I thought that was cool.
Yeah, at least they're trying to acknowledge that we're wrapping up what kids had watched for so long on Filmation, so we can move on to this. So you got to give them credit for at least they're trying to provide some continuity. Say that story is over with. Not that because Jack Lester wanted to come back to Eternia for season two. So at least initially it's wrapped up, and we're going to move into the future with this brand new storyline with this new cast of heroes and villains.
Yeah. And tell them, of course, what Skeletor is trying to do with Flipshot and Hydron, trying to convince them of
Trying
something.
to dupe them that he's the great hero, the great power that they were coming to look for in the past. And of course, it works well because Hydron and Flipshot don't know who they're looking for, which is a great plot device. So it could look like Skeletor, it could look like He-Man. We don't know. We're desperate. We're running out of time, and I love this that He-Man and Skeletor are getting ready to duke it out, and Hydron and Flipshot don't give a damn. Like, just take them both. We don't have time to think about it.
And I also like that in a way. The only thing that was kind of cool, interesting about that aspect is don't judge a book by its cover. Just because Skeletor looks like the evil one doesn't mean he is, and just because He-Man looks like a good guy doesn't mean he's good. You're right. You don't know who you're coming after, so you better, like you said, take them both.
It's a great way of getting Skeletor into the future and leave everything behind. And now he's got to kind of start over and establish himself as the main bad guy, which is an interesting dynamic when he gets to the future and meets Flog and the mutants, as they're leaving Eternia right now.
And now they're going into the future. And I don't know how far in the future they were supposed to be going. Was that ever really stated? How far in the future?
It's hard to say, but you'd almost feel like it's such a deep, but almost in a different galaxy, almost like not nowhere even near Eternia at all. I feel
because
like
it's not like they're not going to future Eternia. Some people thought that. No, that's not the case. They're not going to a future.
to an entirely different planet.
Yes.
It's
Primus, right?
always a different galaxy, and I always like this when the door opens, they come right in and they clash, and then they come chasing out. Oh, that was so much fun.
Exactly.
And now they're like, where the hell are we? And I like this because Skeletor and him are even looking at each other like they're not fighting. They're just kind of taking it back, like, where the hell are we?
Right. They're, I guess, all kind of having their Leslie Nielsen moment from Naked Gun. They have no clue where they're at.
Now they look at each other like, okay, or what's we're new people, and here come these pods, these flight pods chasing after, which leading up to one of my favorite moments of what has always been so memorable to me as a kid. But
because they were finally able to break through to get in, because that they always had that dome that protected them from the mutants.
And of course, Skeletor doesn't really care. He's like, okay, I'm going to show you who I like this. He decides, well, time to show you who I really am, and attempts to kill them all. And
exactly. Another thing you see that I've noticed in this series too that was quite different is you see more of He-Man and the use of his sword doing things compared to He-Man. Because we're used to more of He-Man and his strength, and here He-Man and everything he lifts. But in this, it's him using his sword almost for everything.
And I love the use of the power sword in this, from everything it does. I mean, it was a cool design too. Nothing's gonna beat Filmation, I know, but I love the new Adventure Sword. I think it looks awesome, and I had it as a kid. I got it right now, so I got Skeletor's skull staff over here too.
Yeah, and this is and it's more about the way of the magic and everything. It's see, because that's what you're gonna get from this He-Man for people who will be watching. You're definitely getting a different type of version, meaning it's more hands-on with the sword compared to the strength. Compared to in Filmation, it was more of him punching and lifting and throwing. And yes, he uses sword for deflecting stuff, but this He-Man uses it quite a bit more. So that was another thing to get used to. If you're expecting to, and it doesn't have the impactful music. I guess that's another thing I'm used to.
Well, right here, this was impactful to me. Right now, when the mutant showed me, you got Karate, Hoove, and Slushhead. I
got to see them all.
Oh my god! Like, who are these guys? And they all attack He-Man at once. And let me tell you, 5 years old, this sequence I rewatched multiple times. As brief as it is, I just thought it was even my brother thought this was awesome.
And that's why I wish I could have experienced that as a kid, because just like with the Masters of the Universe toys, anytime a new figure came out, you lost your mind. You loved seeing new figures. So I could picture, if I was watching a cartoon, to see a whole new group of characters that could have been interesting to tie with something. But like I said, just things did not work in my favor of how everything flowed. So I didn't get to experience this like how
Well,
many
I'm in
others
the
probably did.
minority. I think a lot of people who probably like you who saw this as a kid in the stores didn't take to it because of the drastic changes. Whereas, I just, I'd like to think that I probably would have had limits as to what I would accept as a new He-Man toy and cartoon, and this met my satisfaction.
Yeah.
I, I,
I
I
think
did
it's like they say, sometimes they say to promote sometimes a toy or something, they always wished and they'd like to have a cartoon because they want something for kids to relate to. So, oh, and this part, this was okay. He's turning back into Prince Adam. And of course, Master Severing is going to say that he's going to be known as his nephew. This is the part that drove me nuts through the whole entire thing. Compared to the mini comic, I felt which got it right because Skeletor seeing that Prince Adam was He-Man and bam, he was just permanently He-Man in the mini comics New Adventures, which was awesome. This one, I'm like, what is the point of a secret identity? Why does he have to be known as okay, here's the thing. If Skeletor sees Prince Adam, he's seen him as Prince Adam before. If he sees this, is he going to say, oh, wait, that's Prince Adam? Wait a second, Prince Adam's He-Man. It's like, there's no need for a secret identity. I hated that factor of this. I wish that they would have just left him as He-Man because there's not even a need for the Prince Adam character in this storyline.
well, and
Because of,
yes, that's extremely plausible. It makes sense, and like the mini comics, there is no more Prince Adam. Prince Adam is no more essentially in the mini comics. But this, I think they're still trying to maintain that superhero secret identity thing, just for the sake for the for the what kids are somewhat familiar with, and maintaining that popular idea into this. No, it doesn't work as well. No, it does not. It does not make sense. And Skeletor, we all like to think, is a hell of a lot more brighter.
right, right.
That he could, yes, easily figure that out. And I think it's ballsy to have Skeletor and Prince Adam duke it out, and Prince Adam pretty much says, and just reveals it right there on the spot, and Skeletor says, "You." That's brilliant, and I wish they had done that in this.
It would have worked better. I did even like how Skeletor there, he kind of like acts like he's gonna let Flog be the one that leads the way. Even
Well, and
Skeletor,
that's
yeah,
cool too because
yeah,
Skeletor, he's going to manipulate Flog, which is what he does throughout the series, pretending to be second in command, but he's always pulling the string. He's manipulating Flog with every plan. So essentially, Skeletor is in charge, but kind of standing back to avoid any kind of confrontation and winning over the mutants to do his favor bidding. And
yeah. I like how he tries to take that back seat, but of course, he's gonna try to be the guy that does anything and everything, anyways. Later on, that's
yeah,
always his
yeah,
his fault.
and a lot of times he is in charge, and there is no, you know, you know, uh, boosting Flog's ego in front of his troops to. Oh no, no, you're still. But he does do that on a few occasions in this series by saying, "Oh no, 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 Flog, this is your plan. I back you fully on this."
Yeah,
It's an interesting dynamic. Is it executed always as good with the dialogue and stuff? No.
yeah. It
It, there,
takes
there's
some, just
there's a lot of good material here. Is what we want to emphasize. No, a lot of it is some of it's hard to stomach. Yes, I understand that, but it's the story that's trying to be told here. That's what makes it so interesting.
yeah.
Because I feel like there's a good story to be told here with He-Man and Skeletor going to the future and meeting all these new heroes and villains and fighting. Still can be done right. There's a lot of great stuff.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
just to let fans know, I mean, like give him more of a chance because it took me a bit to get past episode 5. But as I started getting past 5, then it kind of grows on you because it's a continuing story, like they say, continuity. So it's kind of always connecting. It's not like just random different episodes, but there's continuity. You do have to get past the first 5 because in those you see quite a bit of change for Skeletor. I mean, he's changed at least his look 2-3 different times. Is like he has big wide eyes, then he has no eyes, then he has glowing red eyes. It's like what is going on? It's like it kind of can get to you, it irritates you. But then as it keeps going and evolving, you're seeing newer characters introduced. They try to do a little homage to things from the past. Tila even appearing in a certain episode, not looking like the Tila we know, but as they was told, they might have been given reference photos of She-Ra for drawing, so it might have been a little confusion when they drew her. They had maybe She-Ra in mind, not realizing that they should have been drawing Tila. So there was a weird little combination of a She-Ra Tila, but it still was cool to see. It still would make a cool ass figure. But the series can grow on you, just like the toys. Now, as adults and as collectors, I see so many people going back saying, "I like those vintage toys. They're actually kind of cool."
Yeah,
because
yeah. I mean, if there's one thing you have to pull away from this, it's the toys and the visual designs of these characters. I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna, as I've said before, I told Joe, it's hard selling the cartoon, but if you look at, what is that? Where I got them? Oh, right over here, like karate, Flog, Optic, Slushhead, Hoove, Butthead, Staghorn.
You know what I can give credit for? This is what I mean, and that I give credit for those vintage toys. They had all different sculpts. Meaning,
Yeah.
the Masters of the Universe figures we had, yes, the gigantic percentage of them all used the same kind of buck and legs, and yes, they started getting different ones as well, but it was basically the same type buck and buck style. But I applaud them for all the different looks and sculpts and unique type of interpretations each figure had. So as an adult, I can see that now. As a kid, I couldn't. Plus, like I said, I didn't see the cartoon. I had so much initial hate for everything. But
and the figures themselves, like the legs and lower body, were they were multi-jointed. You can move the legs and knees.
More articulation, yeah.
There's more articulation. The action features worked quite good. There were slick looking figures. They all look great, and they look great men on card. They look great loose, and they would all look wonderful. Classic eyes, to get KO and Visor and Nocturna and Hoove. We're getting Quake. Quake is on the way. I was so thankful that they decided to make Quake, because I knew he would look extremely badass in classics. And you don't have to like the cartoon to not say that these characters, heroes and villains both, don't look awesome. I mean, when you watch Cyclone and Mossman and Two Bad and Spiker on the Filmation cartoon, are they giving great appearances? Hell no. But I love the characters. So I can't sit there and say, overall, the character sucks because he wasn't depicted very well in the cartoon. I'm like, dude, the toy is no comparison to the lackluster appearances of them in the Filmation cartoon. Same thing goes here. They look awesome. Karate being my favorite. Always has been since I saw that first episode. Wanted to know more about him and everything. It just looks cool,
Yeah. Yeah, so again, I think people out there, you go ahead and watch more of these episodes. You'll enjoy it more. Hell, if you don't have any of those vintage toys, you can find them on eBay. They're pretty cool. I mean, one of my favorites is Sagittar. I love the gimmick of that big son of a gun, because he can stand up, but then he goes into almost like he's a horse, a centaur warrior. And seeing him in the cartoon, he looks quite different. All the characters in the cartoon look different from the toys, but either way, I like that character, and that's one I'm really hoping to see in classics, is a big old Sagittar. That would be one wicked classic.
Well, yeah, and like just like Sagittar, I think everybody can agree Tuscador looked. I mean, the
behemoth,
badass. I mean, just you can't if you like that, you'll like Artilla, who is a cyborg with all weapons, and you've got Nocturna and Visor, KO. Sagittar, of course, is going to look amazing, and the rest of the mutants that have not been made yet. I mean, it's foolish to not think the rest of this line would look awesome, just because everybody likes to immediately cling to, oh, that's part of New Adventures. I'm told I'm not supposed to like that kind of stuff. Have you seen these characters before? No. It's.
Maybe this could be the first time.
Closed-mindedness, I get.
Yeah, and also, classics for the first time could give us another character we never had. Maybe, hey, Mumra has Mutt. We could get Grr for Skeletor, his little demon dog. I love that little crazy looking dog. I think that would be another little wicked little extra to throw in for classics. So there's so much potential.
I love the mutant troopers that are used that look like stormtroopers. They look awesome. I love
army builders.
Yeah, an army builder with the mutant troopers to stand behind Flog and the mutants. I mean, God, there's just so much stuff I would absolutely love to see done, and just show you people there's no reason why classics can't go on for another solid 10 years.
Oh, it could keep going. And you know what? I appreciate appreciate every single one of you in the chat room because it looks like, for people who kind of maybe didn't like New Adventures and for the ones that loved it, it seems like everybody universally is saying, they can agree.
Are they
Yes, they
saying
grow things.
positive things? Or are they
Pretty
saying, "No,
positive. Yeah, a
hell
lot of them, some are saying, yeah, it was, things might not have been perfect. They said, but yeah, the more you watch, it can get better. People are saying they'd love to see Sagittar for classics. Tuscador was a pretty neat looking figure. It was a great figure. So, I mean, I really love having every one of you in the chat room, and I hope you join us again next week for this because, like I
yeah,
said, that's what we love to do. We love trying to give, respect to every part of all the lore of Masters, Pop, New Adventures. I mean, everything. Or Princess of Power, I'm sorry, Master Universe, Princess of Power, New Adventures, every single bit of it. We just like to give respect to it all because it all deserves to be spoken of.
yeah." And we're not trying to sit there and say you must like the cartoon. I'm trying to emphasize that it's a fun story. Like even if you just look at the mini comics, the idea of He-Man and Skeletor going off and meeting new creatures and things like that, and then that's why I loved Emiliano's Homecoming so much was because it tied into coming back,
Everything.
happening during the New Adventures.
Even the movie. They
Chaos
brought the movie
back.
in.
Yeah, tying in events to the movie and all that stuff. I mean, it was paying respect to everything, and I always found that to be quite fascinating because I'd love to see what would have happened, like with He-Man coming back with the Galactic Guardians and Skeletor coming back with the mutants and reclaiming Snake Mountain. Would there be somebody, you know, would it be left vacant for Skeletor to come back, or would the evil warriors decide to take it over themselves? And here comes Skeletor with his new band of mutants that Skeletor went and got new guys. He's turned on all of us. Well, hell, we're not giving him Snake Mountain back. There's tons of stuff you could do with that.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll be very curious after we're done with this podcast. I'll be checking out the Fans of Power Facebook page just to see if anybody, got the answer yet. Or, like I said, it might be lasting for a couple days. You never know. So,
yeah, because when Joe sent me that question, I had to, because at first I'm like, what the hell is that? And when we started talking, like, oh, okay, I know what you're talking about now. So
yes.
it is possible to figure this out. Joe's notorious for brain busters. So, but I hope it makes people think. I hope it makes people go look and dig and dig and dig. I don't want it to be, 30 minutes after we get off here. Oh, found it. And I'm like, oh.
We'll see. We'll see how they find it. But
if you find it, you know what? More power to it, and you will get that first mini comic.
Exactly. So, all right. Well, Tyler, before we wrap it up, did you have any closing thoughts? Anything you want to say to the fans before we wrap her up tonight?
I want to thank every man and woman in the chat room tonight. It was a great turnout. I thank everybody for devoting time to that, and for everybody who listens after we finish recording this. And again, if you want your own copy of the mini comic, send an email to iwantahemancomic@aol.day. Always encourage people to check out Kevin Sharp's artwork, Axel's artwork, Axel Jimenez, if you don't know who I'm talking about, which you should by now. Joe's Customs, plug because Joe is constantly posting new customs of, Turtle He-Man figures, Super Mario He-Man figures, Smurf He-Man figures. Everything's been classicized, He-Manized, masterized.
Yeah.
No, it's Joe does a fantastic job on Silverhawks. We need people and we need Joe to do another. We need Joe to do a dinosaur figure. We've yet to get dinosaurs, more publicized, and we need Joe to make an Allo or a Genghis Rex, and we need Joe to make Bionic 6, and we need Joe to do something from Brave Star, preferably Sandstorm. That would be kind of cool as a classic.
I appreciate that, man. I'll definitely hit some up because fans did enjoy the Turtle Tour I did. Now, that name was by the creator. I haven't said the person's name because I know once he gets the figure, he'll make his public post about it. That's why I haven't said his name, but that name was his name. He did a drawing of Turtle Tour, and so that's his, and I turned it into a figure to give life to his creation. Because some people said, well, why didn't you call him Shellator? And I was like, I didn't name them. This is the name of what, the person who created. That is their name. Both are great names, but yes, that's a Shellator. Yes, that's a good name. But Turtle Tor is just as great. That's what the person did. It was creation, but people enjoyed it, and it was fun to make. It was fun to make Turtle Tor. That was a fun custom. So,
while people in the chat room throw it out, that if anyone who's listening in the chat room has ideas they want us to do for future episodes, you guys throw ideas at us, and we'll, we always like getting thoughts from fans of things they want us to discuss, or stories or characters that they're like, we want to hear more about that, or discuss this, or
we appreciate. Oh, JSP didn't get the question. Okay, well, I'll do it one more time. I mean, wait a second. If JSP, I just want to make sure when you're saying you missed the question, you mean the trivia question. I'm assuming that's what he means. So, okay, I'll give you the trivia question. I said it earlier, but I'll say it at the end of the show for those who may have missed it. There's been much lore, again, like I said, for Masters of the Universe and Princess of Power when it comes to cartoons, books, mini comics, everything. And in one particular piece of lore, there's a scene where Grizzlor's shooting a blast of energy out of his hand, and Leech takes a shield and blocks that blast of energy. So we want to know, where did this come from? And if you can be the first to go to the Fans of Power podcast Facebook page and just post the answer on there, you'll win a copy of Tyler's Minicomic. So that's the question.
What I'm saying is that, is this from a mini comic? Is it from an episode of Princess of Power? Is it from Secret of the Sword? Is it from, a comic book of some kind?
Exactly.
Is it from what?
That's when I say lore.
And believe it, when you find it, you'll know it when you see it. But if you're familiar with your Horde stories, or outings with the Horde characters, you may find it rather quickly. But if not, you will have to do some digging. But I think it's a pretty good question from Joe. So I was glad that was the. Next week we'll narrow it down to where it comes from, but this one was going to require people to do a little digging.
Okay. All right. Well, again, thank you everybody in the chat room for joining us. We appreciate all the discussion, the questions, the comments that you had. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and of course, we hope you join us here again next week. And I'll just close with what I always say. Go to fansofpower.com, go to popculturenetwork.com, go to hemanworld.com, and on Facebook, go to Masters of the Universe He-Man and She-Ra Ultimate Fan Group. All great places, all great people. So until next time, have a powerful day.
I know what this is. This is an espresso machine. No, wait. It's a snow cone maker. Is it a water heater?
Oh, damn it. Everybody knows I get stumped every week. Every week Tyler asks this question, I don't know it, and then I sound like a moron because he gives the answer and I should know this. Damn. What is it?
Arnold in True Lies, when he's being asked about the nuclear missile. I know what this is. This is an espresso machine.
Oh, okay. Good one.
I love that scene.
That's great. All right, guys. So, again, thanks for joining us, and see you guys next week.
See you next week.